Our first lesson is on tobacco because if you're going to gather herbs, you'll be using tobacco or cornmeal as an offering. And if you want to pray with someone, you might want to use tobacco. Tobacco is an herb that has become a pariah in our society, yet is medicine to native peoples. It wasn't really meant to be used and smoked the way we use it. Traditionally, it might be hung in a tree wrapped in fabric and offered for prayer or gifted. And it grows wild, as opposed to commercial tobacco. If it's not smoked by itself in the sacred pipe, a mixture of medicinal herbs and tobacco are smoked in the sacred pipe. My first teacher, Sun Bear, had a wonderful teaching. He said, white people misused tobacco, the sacred medicine of the native people, and it became their undoing in the form of cancer. When native people misused the sacred wine of the Mass, it became their undoing because of their low tolerance for alcohol. You have to respect one another's medicines. Tobacco also has the quality of being able to absorb. You can make a poultice out of it to absorb toxins out of a rash or bite. Country star Blake Shelton recorded a song called I Lived It that mentions using tobacco juice to heal a bee sting back in the old days. And he sang, I ain't making this up. When you pray with it, it absorbs your prayers. If you then smoke it, the smoke carries your prayers up to the Creator. And the age-old shamanic way of praying is to hold a pinch of tobacco between the first 3 fingers of your hand. Say your prayer, then open your fingers and let the tobacco fall to the ground. Don't toss it, just let it fall. Then the nature spirits will take care of your prayer. It's traditional for someone going to a native healer or elder for help to offer them tobacco. This is not payment for their services. Remember, tobacco is absorbent and will, therefore, hold some of the energy of the patient who brought it, helping the healer connect with them energetically. It also acts as an energetic protection for the healer, so they don't take on any of what they are ridding the patient of. This is an excerpt from the audiobook of The Wind is My Mother, where Native American actor Larry Winters reads Bearhart's words about using tobacco.
It doesn't look like much when you give a pouch of tobacco to a medicine person, but it does a lot of things. First, it serves as a permission to appeal to the medicine ways. Even if the medicine way I perform takes only a few minutes, how long did it take me to be able to do that in a few minutes? And what sacrifices were made on my part in order to learn it and earn the right to use it? So, the tobacco first is permission, but it's also my protection, because I'm dealing with a great power in healing work. If I'm treating a serious illness, it's up to me to ground it, because if I don't, it's possible that it might get into my system. And if it's not grounded, the wind, even though the wind is my mother, might take it to someone in my bloodline. So that tobacco is protection for me and my family. Another thing that happens when a medicine person is presented with tobacco and asks for help is that his knowledge and training are activated. He shifts from being just an ordinary human being to an instrument through which the great power flows. Which one of these approaches and techniques should I use in order to enable me to help this person? That tobacco allows me to come up with something that will work. It provides a way for me to connect with the patient and know what he needs. If the medicine I fix calls for tobacco, I will use the same tobacco the patient gave me. Otherwise, I don't need to do anything else with that tobacco after it has done its work of establishing the connection between us. And then, after that, in the tradition of my tribe, a donation of some kind is made.
I always carry a pouch of tobacco with me, and I keep one in my car. I also keep one in my gardening box to use to talk to plants I'm about to prune. That way, I'm always ready to pray. Not that regular prayer doesn't work, but the more you do to help yourself focus and call upon the spirit world for help, the more assistance you'll have. As for tobacco causing cancer, Think of the circumstances under which you smoke. When you're stressed, or in bars surrounded by all sorts of different people with all sorts of different energies and stress levels. That tobacco, which is absorbent, remember, absorbs all the stress and energies around you. And when you inhale the smoke in that circumstance, you're magnifying the stress in your body. Thus, that could lead to illness. I believe that one of the reasons we smoke when stressed is that it changes our breathing. We breathe deeper to inhale the smoke, and deep breathing reduces stress. It would be better to just do breathing exercises. If you're interested in that, I have a book that can teach you how. The Fountain of Youth is just a breath away. Breathing exercises for relaxation, health, and vitality. And when you smoke a prayer smoke or sacred pipe, you don't inhale anyway. It's prayers, and prayers are good for you. If you take something from the earth, such as a rock, a plant, a feather, etc., leave tobacco or cornmeal as an offering, as a token of respect and exchange, and to ask permission. Modern society doesn't think this way. But when you pick a plant or flower, you're taking a life. Perhaps if we all thought that way, the world would be a lot better off. When you pick herbs or anything from the earth, if you have no tobacco, you can use a hair from your head or a piece of chocolate. There must always be an exchange. In the southwest and south of the border, cornmeal is used as an offering to the earth. Ask permission first and pray for abundance and protection for that element or kingdom. Never take something from the earth without asking permission. Some people, and I'm one of them, love rocks and collect them. However, we shouldn't take them home without asking permission. This may sound strange, but each rock may have relatives and friends nearby, and you're taking it away is like kidnapping, taking it away from its home. The fact that humans no longer see the world in that light is why we have become so disconnected from the natural world. There are some hair-raising stories of white people taking sacred objects from indigenous land without permission or an offering, and they lived to regret it, having runs of bad luck and bad health. In fact, there's a forest of petrified wood in Arizona, and it's illegal to take anything from the park. And it has a conscience pile of returned stones which reflect owners' wishes to rid themselves of the curse of the petrified wood taken without permission. So it's been returned to its rightful place in the desert. Another thing we use tobacco for is going out and picking other herbs. Again, it's about asking permission and making an offering. If you're going out to pick sage or cedar, try to choose an area where it's plentiful. Select one plant that will be designated as the grandfather or grandmother plant. Offer tobacco and ask permission to take some sage or cedar from the area, and pray for the continued protection and abundance of the green kingdom. Then do your picking, but not from the grandparent plant. And pick just a little from each plant so that you don't decimate an area. After you leave, it should look like you weren't there. I'll talk more about that further on how to obtain sage. I learned early on that when going to an elder to ask for a healing or teaching, the protocol was to give them tobacco. But the specifics were left out in my instruction. In the late 1980s, I traveled to Oregon to attend a workshop with Sun Bear and went to a tobacco store to get him tobacco. I bought the most expensive, stickiest pipe tobacco they had because I didn't know it was supposed to be simple tobacco. So I had this molasses-laden tobacco gift-wrapped because I didn't know any better. When I gave it to him, he looked really excited. He thought maybe there was some fancy chocolate in the box. And after he unwrapped it, he was polite and he thanked me, but I knew he was disappointed that it was simply tobacco. I had misled him. I hope you'll get in the habit of using tobacco for offerings and prayer, because it will enhance your life in so many ways.